Hi guys, it's a very quick video on how to cure bogwood. By curing it, I mean that you remove most of the tannins so you don't get the discoloration in your water. If you don't remove the tannins, your water is going to go an orangey or even a very dark brown colour if there's enough tannins in the wood or enough wood in your aquarium. To cure the bogwood, I boil it. I boil it for a couple of hours and I keep changing the water as I boil it. Just turn the temperature down so you can actually see what I'm doing here. To boil it properly, I'll put the lid on, up the temperature a bit. And you definitely want to turn on the extractor because you're going to make a lot of steam over 2 hours and you're going to upset people if you don't turn on the extractor. So that's the first thing you need to do, boil it. Mine for a couple of hours, 2, maybe even 3. Well worth doing if you don't want that brown colour in your water. So you get most of the tannins out that way. You can also soak it for a couple of weeks, 2, even 3 weeks in a large bucket of water. Occasionally empty the water out and refill it. But I find boiling the water first hugely accelerates the process of removing most of the tannins. I don't think you're ever going to remove all the tannins. If you've got a bogwood in your tank, I think you're always going to have some sort of discoloration, but you can minimise that. If we just move over to this tank in here. It's a big tank, 160 litre, which is 35 UK gallons. UK gallons and US gallons are frustratingly different. So this might be about 40 odd US gallons, 35 UK gallons. A lot of bogwood in there. I think there's about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, must be about 12 pieces in there, different sizes, but that's a lot of bogwood in that size of tank. It's still going to leach some tannins in there. Tannins are actually beneficial for your fish in 2 ways. One way is the tannins are a natural fungicide, so they'll help to prevent things like fin rot. But you shouldn't really be getting fin rot if your tank is healthy anyway. Also, it helps to keep the water slightly acidic. Most fish do not like alkaline or neutral water. Of course, there are many that do, but many common community fish like tetras or like rams do like a slightly acidic water, so they will do that for you. What I do, and it works a treat, bear in mind there's a lot of wood in this. Yeah, I've cured it and I've got most of the tannins out, but this wood's been in there for about 3 weeks now. What I do is, apart from my main filter, which is doing the biological filtration, I have a tiny little filter which is absolutely packed of carbon. The best carbon to use is activated carbon. It costs a little bit more, but it does a much better job. I'd say roughly it costs almost twice as much. Activated carbon looks like this, these pellets usually, it comes in that form. Normal filter carbon might cost you less, and it looks like that. It's like big chunks, looks like little chunks of coal actually. You can grind those down and make it more effective. The reason why activated carbon is much more effective is it's been treated, usually by heat and exposure to oxygen, to open up the pores, so it's got a huge surface area, so it absorbs far more of the tannins far more quickly. It's also going to absorb other pollutants from your tank. If you've got any rocks in there that might be leaching minerals and things that you don't want, it's going to help to deal with those. If you've used medicine in your fish tank and you need to get it out for whatever reason, it's going to very quickly remove those. So bear in mind, if you're doing what I do, if you've got a little filter running with activated carbon and you need to medicate your tank, take it out because it's going to neutralise the medication. But that's how I do it, guys. I boil my bogwood, driftwood, whatever it is you want to call it. I soak it for a couple of weeks as well. Then I put it in my tank. Still get some tannins, hardly any, but still get some. And to get rid of those, get rid of that coloration, tiny little filter beside my main filter with activated carbon. I hope that helps, guys. Cheers.